to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
This is the last place that Layla Santinello was seen. Witnesses actually saw her at this hotel and she was distraught. We know she slept in the woods somewhere here. The fence, I see the fence over here. That just is something that I've seen. Look at this. Holy crap, look. We can follow her path. Somebody walked through here. Look at the way they say, somebody walked through it this way, not that way. Somebody's been back here. I wonder if her boyfriend came back here looking for her. If you know something, say something, because her life does matter. And for the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up. Well, hello, my beautifuls. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to do what I don't normally do. I am going to take my virtual background off. Why am I taking my virtual background off? Because I just got back from my shopping with my mommy and doing lunch with my mommy. And I had to go get some, you know, my syrup, my coffee syrup, my sugar-free coffee syrup, so I can have those yummy, scrumptious coffees every day. And then, boom, this like jumped out at me. Remember that sign, the picture behind me? For those that, not this one here, but in my office, it says, what does it say? It says, you'll never inspire the world to change by being like it, or something. You'll never influence the world by being like it. And that one also jumped out at me. But this one, fearless. Fearless. If you guys want to know or have an opportunity to maybe get your own, I got this at TJ Maxx. I spent $7.99 on this. There's the ticket right there. Just pulled it off. $7.99. Be fearless with me. It's worth it. All right, guys. All right. So I had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time with my mommy at lunch and my sissy. I got to see my sissy, even though I didn't get to see her on her birthday. I did. Actually, I don't need this because we're not talking about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers today. Let me find a different background, or you know, not right at this moment. We'll be talking about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers a little bit later today. We are, let me see what we got here for. Maybe we'll do this one. There we go. There we go. And there's Crystal Rogers down there at the bottom right there. There's Crystal Rogers. So it's nice to see you. I decided to pick the two cases that we are going to be discussing on this episode of the Bullhorn Betty channel. Is going to be two cases. It's going to be the Brian Koberger case and Crystal Rogers case. Crystal Rogers is from Bardstown, Kentucky. We kind of hinted on her in our morning show when I spoke to you guys about the two cases in Kentucky, the one in Bardstown, Kentucky, and the one that with the sheriff in that small community, and I've already forgot the name, but we'll figure it out. And Brian Kohberger. A lot has happened in the Brian Kohberger case related to the IGG and them trying to kick the DNA out. If the DNA is out of the Brian Kohberger case, I don't think they're going to have much of a case to go forward with. That was kind of the nail in the coffin for him. So I know IGG has worked many cases across this country, but it doesn't matter. It matters what happens in this case. It matters how well the prosecution and the defense argue in this case. The judge is for this case. So we're going to have to watch and listen to find out. Now, I'm pretty sure we'll have to look at it, but I think tomorrow is the hearing. The hearings are set for January 23rd and January 24th, respectfully. So they have a hearing related to the motion to suppress the IGG, motion for Frank's hearing insofar as it regards the IGG investigation, and an indication in the court's oral ruling, this portion of the hearing will be closed and sealed. But before we get started on diving into and getting updated on the Brian Kohberger case, I have a little bit of something a little funny that I was cracking up with, and I want to shout out. I want to shout out Hong and, of course, War Damn Eagle for this, because it was, I think, Hong that created it, but I think I saw it on War Damn Eagle, and we're going to watch it on War Damn Eagle. But to me, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. So I don't know who did this, if it truly was Hong or not, but if it was, this is one for the books. It really is one for the books. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
I'm so tired. I'll be back in a second, man. We turned around. We fucked up. Yeah, you're good.
Dog.
That's all, folks.
All right, guys. Now, if we don't get a standing ovation for the creativity that went out in that, I don't know. Let's give it up. I want to see some clappy hands in the chat. Clappy hands in the chat. Now, that was downright hilarious. Good old fashion fun there with that. I found much comedy in that. Absolutely. And so now that we've had fun with this particular situation, now it's time to kind of dive into a case we have not really covered all of that much, and it is the Idaho 4. We were in that case at the very beginning of the case. We had every twist and turn. The only thing that I was not a part of when it came to this case was the destruction of the home. And Chronicles of Olivia was there that morning to witness the destruction of the single most valuable piece of evidence in the case for Brian Kohberger. Very disheartened to see it. I do understand why the university chose to do it, because they were either going to have to leave the home in its condition, which we know college-age students, and we know without a doubt somebody would have walked into that home and saw stuff that they should not have seen. And that stuff would find a way to make its way onto social media, because that's just the environment that we are in. And I think they had a choice between having a 24-hour security person out there, which was bleeding the university and the community dry, or they could just take it down. Now, what goes on when they take it down? Do I think that the evidence is gone for forever? No, I don't. There's something about looking at a property firsthand. There's something about being there and them feeling the vibe that they felt and they feel. I'm sorry, there's just something that happens when juries go to the place and see it and visualize it for themselves. There's just something about it. And I think it has a lot to do with the way I felt when I got to the location off of Kings Road that November day, that very, 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 very cold November day. We arrived on scene within 1 week of this this massacre happening. And as soon as my feet planted King Road and I walked around the house, because that's exactly what I did before I even set up any of my equipment. I set my equipment down and took a walk around the property. They had the at this time, there was no gate around the property. There was only yellow tape. And as soon as I walked around that property, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that none of their friends were responsible for this. It's not that I have a crystal ball. It's just what you get from the scene. I don't know where it comes from, but it's something that speaks to you. And I just knew everybody was looking in the wrong way. And I made a point to make sure I said that publicly and online, that we're all looking in the wrong direction, if you ask me. That's what I said. You guys can go back to the work, go back to when I arrived there, go to the scene out in front of the house. You will hear me say that. We are looking in the wrong direction. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how it got there, but it was there as soon as I stepped on that property. And that's what the jury misses by not being there. A lot of things have happened. Now, I didn't go too much in depth in this because I'm not going to for this particular case, because we do have the hearings coming up in the next day, tomorrow, and on Friday. We're going to have hearings. We're going to be monitoring those hearings. So I will be going live about 3 p.m. tomorrow. I'll get it set up. Now, I don't know if we're going to get a sneak peek because it doesn't tell us when the cameras and when they're going to go live. Okay. So we just have to be here. And if they go live, we can go live. They'll pop it up on their live stream and we get to watch it. I've already got the live stream information. I made sure we had everything that we need for the live. Here's the kicker. They're going to be talking about the IGG. And the IGG is closed to the public. It's a sealed hearing. And we don't know how long that hearing is going to last for before they get into the part of the case that is open to the public. So we have to be here and ready for when the cameras come on so we can watch it. They don't have a time for it. We know that the hearing is at 9 a.m. in their time zone, which equates to about, what are we, 2 or 3 hours behind them? I can't remember. It's Boise, so I think we're 2 hours. It might be 3 hours. So you're looking, if they start at 9 a.m., we're looking at a start time for our time, Eastern time, at 11 or noon. And we know that the first part, 2 hours, thank you, Truth and Time. So we know it'll be 11 o'clock before the hearing starts, but we're not going to have access to that hearing. That first part of the hearing where they're going over the evidence to argue whether it can be heard at trial, as it can be exculpatory evidence submitted against Brian at trial, that's closed off to the public. So is that going to take an entire day to argue? It might. They may not open the hearing until Friday to the public. And there's going to be portions of even the Friday hearing that might go offline for us, because they have to make sure that all the information that they're discussing is allowed to be in the public. There's a lot of sealed documents in the Brian Kohberger case, lots and lots and lots of sealed documents. I'm going to be going through the docket. We do have the docket up. It's been quite a while since I have had an opportunity to preview it. I have been monitoring it a little bit. And of course, I've got some of the orders. I went ahead and pulled off the latest order to see what we can and cannot do. I also have the link to watch the live broadcast. So we truly are very much ready for this, for the hearing when it does come to the public. So stay with me for the next 2 days. We're going to be going over Brian Koberger. I am still working, depending on how this whole attorney thing and when all this stuff is. We are still planning on going out to the area, Boise, Idaho, for the trial. Now, in an effort to save money, we probably will not be there as long as we would have liked. So it was my original thought to be there the entire trial. That is not going to be the case for us. The flight is very expensive. The auto rental is very expensive. Staying there is fairly, you can find some deals in Boise, but not like you can over in Washington over the state line. You can pick up a room there for between $50 and $62 a night over in Washington state, just right over the state line. So the expense is going to be there on that trip. So in an effort to cut some of the budget, some of the meat away, I've got to figure out when I want to go. Do we want to go at the beginning? Do we want to go in the middle? Or do we want to go for the verdict? I'm not sure what I want to do yet. So until I figure out what I'm going to do, I may not, let you guys know until it happens. But I am planning on making a personal appearance in Boise, Idaho for this case. And I want to make sure that I stand on the side of that courtroom with the victims before this case is over. So without further ado, we're going to jump in, and the majority of our time is going to be to get us brought up on a case that's not getting quite as much coverage as it should. And it is the case of Crystal Rogers. I know you guys, if you've been with me for any period of time, you've probably heard me talk about her case. This is something I created a year or two ago about the case. This case has been going on since 2015. And finally, her ex-boyfriend is behind bars, and so are two of his coworkers, his employees, are also behind bars, and they are charged in her death, even though they have not found her body. This is going to be a no-body case. And this is kind of a similar situation in part that we're having in the Sebastian Rogers case. The pieces of this case that identify or resonate with the Sebastian Rogers case is the standing of the family. This is a very wealthy family. They owned a farm. Brooke Houck's family is very wealthy. He is very wealthy. And they had a lot of political pull in their community that prevented him from being held accountable on multiple things, not just her disappearance, not just her murder, but also stealing products from Lowe's. He got off scot-free when they had an opportunity to throw him in jail. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for you to help get you guys caught up to speed. And we're going to dive into a few of the videos to help encapsulate in your mind what happened in this case and why is this Houck family under such suspicion. It's not just Brooks that's under suspicion, and we're going to walk through that. Very interesting case. I think you guys will be very, it's got a lot of twists and turns to it, and I think obviously it's moved along over the last couple years than it has since 2015. So we're on the track with this particular case.
Crystal Rogers is a mother of 5 beautiful kids that went missing on the July 4th weekend in 2015. Her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, came under heavy scrutiny about her disappearance back in 2015, but for whatever reason, the case went cold. Well, this particular case just heated up most recently in September with the very first arrest of a gentleman by the name of Joseph Lawson. This is an employee of Brooks Houck. Brooks Houck was later arrested after Joseph Lawson, and the case kind of died out. There was some major shocks in the case when the state prosecutor Brooke Houck's bail hearing tells the judge that his brother, Nick, might have been the one that shot Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard. If you're unfamiliar with this case, Crystal is a beautiful young lady that disappeared in 2015, and her father went out looking for her and searching and was probably finding evidence about what happened to his daughter. Well, during a hunting, what many thought was a hunting accident on Tommy Ballard's property, he was shot to death. And apparently during this bail hearing for Brooks Houck, it was alleged that his brother, Nick, may have killed Crystal's father.
Today in court, prosecutors said they believe they have the gun used to kill Tommy Ballard now, connecting the investigation with the death of his daughter, Crystal Rogers.
Waiting for testing to come back on the firearm we believe was used to murder Tommy Ballard, a firearm that we purchased from Nicholas Houck, who was using a fake name when he sold the rifle.
This case has a lot of twists and turns, and that's not it. In 2013, an officer was ambushed. His name is Jason Ellis. And people are starting to feel that this Jason Ellis is connected to this particular case with Crystal Rogers and Brooks Houck. So now we have 3 people arrested in connection with the death of Crystal Rogers, although her body has not yet been found.
A third person is indicted in connection to the disappearance of Crystal Rogers. Stephen Lawson was just indicted on conspiracy to commit murder. Joseph Lawson was also indicted earlier this year on conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence charges. Then Brooks Houck was indicted on murder. Rogers went missing in 2015, but her body has never been found.
Joseph was first arrested in the case earlier this year. Right now, Steve Lawson is in jail in Harrison County, Indiana. He'll be extradited back to Nelson County for his arraignment later this month.
Pieces falling into place 8 years after the disappearance of Crystal Rogers, the mother of 5 from Bardstown, last seen alive 4th of July weekend 2015. Now, 3 men have been linked to her death, believed to have happened that very same weekend. Joseph Lawson was the first arrest. Brooks Houck was second. Now Steve Lawson marks the third, a name not new to the investigation. In fact, it was first mentioned just months after Rogers was reported missing inside the Nelson County Sheriff's interrogation room.
Police arresting Steve Lawson today. The Nelson County grand jury indicting Lawson on 2 charges: conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence.
Adding to the whirlwind few months it's been in the unsolved Crystal Rogers case.
But everyone is excited. This has been a long time coming.
Police say they can now tie a third person to her 2015 disappearance, charging this man, Stephen Lawson, with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence.
Like everybody, we just want justice for the Ballards and for people to pay for the crimes that they did.
All right. So the community has been reeling from this particular case. The whole community has been in arms because, in all fairness, this is a very wealthy family. It doesn't end with Brooks Houck. You know, they're looking at the grandmother, the mom, knowing what happened, his mom, and then to have his brother, you know, potentially implicated in the death of Crystal Rogers' dad, Tommy Ballard. And yes, I did say that. Crystal Rogers' dad, Tommy Ballard. He was searching for his daughter, and he ended up being executed. And they believe it's Brooks' brother, Nick. Like I said, twists and turns, small town crime, big time consequences, and delay. They had big pockets, and they had people that were looking the other way even after Crystal disappeared. Crystal is a mom of multiple children. I believe she has 5 total children, including the young boy she had with Brooks Houck. He took her away from all of her children. All of her children. Now let's learn a little bit more about the timeline associated with Crystal Rogers, because this is another case that I do believe when the time comes, we are going to be discussing this and going out and looking at the area in this case, because this is a case that I have personally been covering for a significant amount of time. We've been covering this case off and on now for 3 years, maybe 4 years at this point.
The Nelson County Sheriff's Office has handled Crystal Rogers' case since July 3rd, 2015, the last day she was seen alive. Brooks Houck told police that they were at his family's farm and went home together, but the next morning she was gone. Then Sheriff Ed Mattingly announced Crystal was presumed dead on October 16th, 2015, and declared Brooks as the main suspect. Then last July and August, hope was renewed. Remains were found July 23rd, 2020 on farmland in Washington County, Kentucky, near the Nelson and Marion County border. The new evidence was quickly sent to the FBI lab in Quantico, Virginia to be tested and identified. Then, just 2 weeks later, on August 6, 2020, the FBI served warrants to search Brooks Houck's home, his brother Nick's home, and the family farm.
They had the hood of his truck open and going through under his hood. They're going through everything.
Dozens of federal agents walked in and out of Brooks's house as he calmly mowed the lawn outside. The IRS also showed up carrying out boxes and file cabinets full of documents. That search went on for 2 days in Bardstown.
We want to get it right. We want to ensure that that our part in this investigation, that we are doing everything we can to solve the case.
But then they left and no other information. No announcement that the FBI got what they needed. No arrest. And the remains? The devastating news came for her family. It was not Crystal. That announcement didn't come for months, not until November 2020. Still, that search renewed hope, just like this new federal effort underway in Bardstown. Remember, you can keep update.
And here's the original missing flyer poster for Crystal. Sorry, it's not coming in very well. It's not my computer. It is the website here, the FBI.gov. When they blew her photo up, it got very, very blurry for some reason, and not down. So now we're going to start getting into more of the information as we dovetail into Nick Houck. We're going to be starting with Nick Houck this afternoon.
Since Bardstown mother Crystal Rogers went missing and still no answers.
But now mysterious signs are plastered all over Nelson County. And as WDRB's Katrina Helmer reports, the signs don't hold back on who's to blame.
Signs like this are
I will tell you guys, Crystal's mom is going to be on this. So if you have, it is pretty, she does kind of tear up a little bit. So if anything's upsetting and you need to step away, now would be a good time.
Popping up all over Bardstown, pointing fingers directly at the Houck brothers. They grab your attention, and that's the point.
I saw the signs. They are very blunt.
Sherry Ballard is making it through another 4th of July without her daughter, Crystal Rogers. She disappeared 4 years ago.
Sorry, it's just been a rough week.
No one has ever been charged. Without any clear answers, Ballard vows to never let anyone forget Crystal. And when these signs popped up overnight, she says it's comforting.
Brooks Houck was named the #1 suspect in my daughter's disappearance, and it makes me feel good to think that people out there believe the same thing that I do.
We don't want it to die down. We don't want her.
And I just want to let you know that it takes activists and advocates doing stuff like that. And as you see, the appreciation from families.
Be forgotten.
This person wants to remain anonymous, but admits to being one of several people planting these signs in the early morning hours of July 4th. They put out 75 signs with specific phrases.
We chose Nick failed the polygraph because Nick did fail the polygraph.
Another sign, Brooks Houck is the only suspect in the disappearance of Crystal Rogers.
You're still the only suspect, and we want to keep that out there.
And this one, ride the wave, it's worked out this far. It refers to a statement Brooks Houck made to WDRB.
I have been advised, to ride the wave and keep on keeping on. And that's what I've done, and it's worked out great this far.
We still think that he's very cold and disrespectful to the family, uncaring. He never really seemed to be at all bothered by her missing, and that's the mother of his son.
At the bottom of the sign, we're praying for sharks, another clear, pointed message.
The overall goal is we still don't have answers. We still don't have justice. And we need to keep them in the public eye until we do.
They know in their heart what happened.
Reporting in Bardstown.
And they do. And after this and after the pressure, law enforcement started looking inward. But again, before we get started on Brooks, I just lost my audio again. Hold on. StreamYard. This is getting old. $50 a month, just about. And we can't even keep the audio engaged on StreamYard. Just saying. All right, Brooke Houck. I want to get, do we really want to? I guess we do need to get set up for this. Okay.
High-profile murders in Bardstown.
The special prosecutor in the murder of Crystal Rogers dropped a bombshell in court yesterday, revealing Nick Houck, the brother of the man charged in Rogers' murder, is being investigated for the murder of her father, Tommy Ballard.
We were waiting for testing to come back on the firearm we believe was used to murder Tommy Ballard, a firearm that we purchased from Nicholas Houck, who was using a fake name when he sold the rifle.
Brooks Houck is now in jail charged with murdering Crystal Rogers. Shortly after the mother of 5 disappeared, his brother Nick was fired from the Bardstown Police Department for interfering with the investigation. We have been digging deeper through old police interviews. In one of them, Nick explodes when an investigator told him he failed a lie detector test surrounding the disappearance of Crystal Rogers.
Because you're telling me I'm lying, and I know I'm not. I know the truth.
We're not gonna go through that right now because we've got well, might as well. We're gonna go through his interview in just a second.
Truth, and I'm going 100% honest with you, the grand jury, and everybody else I've spoken to.
Here's what I'm getting. We just said.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
I most definitely have. And if you don't want to believe it, that's your issue. It's not mine.
It's not just me. I showed you.
Dude, I don't give a what your computer said.
Just before this heated exchange, Nick Houck sat calmly in his unbuttoned Bardstown police uniform as he's told he did not pass a lie detector test. Some of the questions: do you know where Crystal is right now? And are you hiding any information about what happened to Crystal?
You didn't tell me the truth on both of those questions. And it's no longer a matter of wondering, do you know anything about what happened? We're past that now. I'm no longer asking you if you know. You do.
Nick Houck sat in silence. The official then opens his computer to show Nick the results of his polygraph.
Exception indicated. 100%.
The examiner also asked Nick about the phone call he made to Brooks while he was being questioned by a detective.
I know you told me innocent people have got jammed up, but if you're telling me to leave, I'll get up and leave.
And he asked Nick, as a police officer, why he wasn't more involved with helping find Crystal.
Listen, they come up with all these lies about, well, there's bodily fluid in your car, there's blood. There is no way in hell there is any blood in that car. I'm just telling you, I didn't do it. I don't know nothing about it. I don't know anything about it. My brother, and I can tell you, I know him well enough, he didn't do it.
You asked him, what can I do?
There's nothing we can do, you know?
She's just gone.
I mean, hopefully, like I said, she'll show up any minute. And if not, obviously you guys are going to find her at some point. Find out how she was killed. Is there evidence under her fingernails? All this stuff. And it's not going to point toward him or me.
They just made sure it didn't point anywhere. They still have never found her.
Who would it point to?
How the hell would I know that?
That's what I'm asking you.
So there is now what you guys are going to find in this brief dive back into Crystal Rogers' case is that Brooks Houck tried to appear more helpful to law enforcement than his brother, which wasn't under investigation. His brother's behavior in these interrogations interviews with law enforcement lead me to believe he was more involved in the disappearance and or disposal of Crystal than many people think. I think he needs to be right there with the other three, because you know there were things that were found inside his car. So unless he loaned his car to his brother, those things should not have been in there. And I'm still quite shocked that Nick has never been arrested, not even for Tommy Ballard. We haven't touched this case in well over a year and a half, and Nick Houck is still not arrested in connection with check message. Which message where? Pebbles, you weren't very clear on that. Check what message? Oh, nice to see you, Sweet Misery. Sweet Misery sent me a message. Okay, thank you. Give me just a second. Oh my gosh, I'm not even signed in. Give me a second. There it is. Going live at 5. Okay. Well, we're almost wrapped up. Anyways, we're going to go through just a little bit more. Thank you for letting me know. So what Pebbles was letting me know is that Jennifer Coffindaffer is going live at 5. So we support Jennifer Coffindaffer on this show. But many of us like to hear, especially me, she's one of the experts and has the expertise that I want to listen to and absorb, right? So I don't want anybody missing that, and I definitely don't want to be missing that either. So we're going to be heading over there, but we've got just about 30 more minutes before we have to go over there. So let me bend your ear just a little bit more on the Crystal Rogers case. And I want you guys to hear, before we jump into his interview, more about the father. I'm not sure if this is the right one or not, but we'll find out. I think this might be the right one, the right video. I have all these in order. This is not going to be something that we're just going to do away with after this live. We're going to be studying Brian Kohberger and Crystal Rogers at this time on a daily basis, so we can get the coverage of these cases so you guys are up to snuff, because these are cases that I'm interested in. And I'm most likely going to do more work in them. That's why I get you guys kind of, caught up in the case, and then we start diving in a little bit deeper. She still is missing. Just remember that. This is going to be quick.
I will tell you, Your Honor, we're investigating the murder of Tommy Ballard that could potentially be related to this case. We are waiting for testing to come back on the firearm we believe was used to murder Tommy Ballard, a firearm that we purchased from Nicholas Houck, who was using a fake name.
Fake name. A gun that they believe unalived Crystal Rogers' father, Tommy Ballard, and they purchased it from Nick Houck directly. And Nick Houck was using an anonymous, a different name in an effort to sell that. Now with Nick's interview, we are going to go over this interview in depth, but I just want you guys, maybe I went too far. I want you guys to hear how he speaks. If you guys want to know about, we talk about cooperating witnesses and uncooperating witnesses. I want to let you know there's a way to uncooperate, not cooperate with law enforcement, and still be very much respectful and not just shut up and not. And this man here is one of the most uncooperative suspects I have literally ever witnessed interview. And it's kind of shocking because he used to be a police officer. I'm going to give you a little bit of tidbits in this. And then we're going to just pop through a couple more little things so we can get over to Jennifer Coffendoffers.
Shit, it seems like it runs together now. I've worked with all of them at some point or another. You know. But there was 5 or 6 of us on that shift, so.
You hear how calm he's talking to them? Now we're going to get into a little bit more where they're pressing him a little bit more and he's uncooperative.
What days are you generally off? Let's see. So like one week I'll be off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come back Monday. Work Tuesday, off Wednesday. Okay. Work Thursday, Friday. It's hard to keep up with. Sure. I mean, it's a mess.
Well, how do you keep up with it?
I've got to schedule it at home. Okay. Yeah, I've got to leave my schedule still today, even 5, 6 months later.
Now, what's your normal shift time end?
7 o'clock.
So say if you were going out to the farm 8:30.
Well, then I could have swung that. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's safe to say that if you were driving your cruiser out to the farm, you weren't working.
Almost definitely.
Because you don't leave the city to go out to the farm while you're working, right?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so you wouldn't do that. So you would have been off. Remember back, that was the same day that he was up here being interviewed. Okay, it would have been Wednesday. If he was up here interviewed, you had phone conversations with him before he came up here. He told you he was coming up here, and then after a couple hours, you called, checked on him, told him to protect himself, whatever it was, the conversation that you had. And then after that phone call, within 2 hours, both of y'all were driving to the farm on the camera. Okay. So we know all that. There's no debate about that. We know that. What we need to know is why y'all both went down to the farm. Because I know it's going to be hard for you to remember a week ago, but I can remember a week ago if I'm thinking about a conversation I had with my brother and something like this going on. This doesn't go on all the time. So, I mean, we're going to call it like it is. Is it, do you don't want to remember or can you remember?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Uncooperative.
This is what's happened. You made a phone call. He was up here. Within 2 hours of him leaving here, both of y'all were on the road, on the way to the farm, and the camera shows that. Time and date stamp. Phone call. Time and date stamp. You're out there. What went on while you were out there at the farm?
Yeah, if I knew, I'd tell you. I mean, I wish I could give you a detailed written statement. I don't know.
Out there, doesn't know nothing. Doesn't know nothing. Hey, Big Mac Mike, nice to see you, love. Doesn't know a thing. This is what we refer to as a witness that's not cooperating. He's there. He's being respectful. But he doesn't know anything. That's not cooperating. We all know that if you have a family member sitting in the hot seat at a sheriff's office related to a missing person, and you tell that person to stop cooperating and get your ass out of there, and then you both show up at the family farm, you're seriously going to tell these officers you don't remember nothing. Nothing happened. I can't remember. I don't recall. That is an uncooperating witness. Okay, we got just a few more minutes. We're going to wrap up here. We've got the original interview. Hold on, where is this? Okay. Hold on, let me find where this one is. Okay, so we're right here. And this is where kind of we're going to go with this one right there. This is when it starts heating up in this particular interview.
That's the whole reason. Yes, it's a test. I mean, you're talking crazy.
Well,
I mean, you're talking crazy.
Was that your rehearsed response to what was going to happen today? Because it sure sounds like it.
I don't know what it sounds like. I'm just telling you.
I'm telling you what
you're talking crazy.
What's crazy about it? Explain to me.
The accusations you're making.
Yeah, I'm saying you're involved in this.
Absolutely not.
Well,
none.
You've already told me that. That's why we did the polygraph, to find out. Well, now we both know.
I told you what now?
You told me before you had nothing to do with it. Right?
Yes.
Well, now we're past that because I've already shown that you did have something to do.
I don't know what the test.
I just showed you.
Okay.
I just showed it to you.
But I'm telling you, I did have.
And I'm telling you, you're lying. I mean, I can't make it any. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings, but I'm just telling you the truth.
That's what I'm doing to you. I'm telling you the truth.
No, you're not. We're past that. I've already shown you.
I've taken the polygraph. Do you have anything else for me? Because I mean, I'm not going to sit here and we're not going to go back and forth like this.
You do whatever you want to do. I said I'm
I mean, I want to cooperate with you. I mean, I'm not
Well,
here.
then tell me what happened. Tell me what you know.
I don't know anything.
We're past that. You've already shown me that you do.
So as you see, it's hitting up. Can you believe, just listen to this. He was more uncooperating than Brooke. Brooke, on the other hand, or Brooks rather, on the other hand, was trying to be overly cooperating. He was trying to overly help law enforcement when he was sitting in the hot seat.
The turnaround here.
The house is right here in the barn here. Yeah, right here is where, yes, and it goes back there far. And there's 3 big pens back through there. There's 3 separate fields that would rotate the pasture and stuff.
Gotcha. And you said you walked from field 1.
Yeah, let me just make it real clear for you. Is this, you can put this in your paperwork or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I didn't write that, but.
No, I drew it out for somebody else.
Overly helpful. Drawing him diagrams, everything. Big difference night and day. And he's the one that's the suspect. Not his brother.
Right, kind of gives an angle off Mom's place.
And then it goes all the way back. So somewhere right in here.
In those interviews you saw Nick being uncooperative in, that was before they even knew anything about him being potentially the shooter for Tommy Ballard. So he didn't really have any dog in the fight, is what I'm saying, to be so uncooperative. Like, he was so uncooperative, law enforcement knew that they were up the right tree. You know what I'm saying? He was so obviously uncooperative that if you have a family, if you're part of law enforcement and your family's not involved in a disappearance or any type of homicide or anything like that, you are not going to act like that to the investigators from your own damn department. You're just not. You're going to be cooperative. You're going to be willing to help them. Shirley says, if you was involved, how would you know details about the case? If you was not involved. Very good information. And, you know, you see 2 polar opposites in these interview process. You see this guy here, which is who they believe is the culprit in the not only disappearance of Crystal Rogers, but the homicide of Crystal Rogers. And you see him being overly helpful while his brother is being fully uncooperative. It doesn't make sense. If you had nothing to do with it, brother should be willing to help just like this man's willing to help. But he wasn't. Why? Because his brother was police. His brother knew what they were doing, and this brother was not participating in it or playing their games. However, this man here, Brooks Houck, he's trying to save his own butt because he knows he's responsible. So he wants to have the appearance he's doing everything he can to cooperate with the investigation. Just a few minutes, and then we'll be pulling the plug.
This is a double day. This is where we go in. Right here is where we enter the field, because this is barbed wire, you know. And then over here.
As long as he's talking about stuff that's unrelated to Crystal Rogers, he is overly helpful. Let's go down here. Let's start seeing when it starts getting a little tougher.
I'm not her dad. I'm not her disciplinary figure. If she disobeyed her mother, I followed a direct order from her mother. Her mother couldn't get it from her. I took her cell phone from her, and then it's just been hell ever since.
That was the whole thing about the wrist?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, they took her up to the hospital and did the same with CPS and all this bunch of garbage. They ruled it unsubstantiated or how.
So he's had CPS in his world as well. And it was related to hurting of his stepchild. They weren't married, but it was one of her other kids. And it sounds like he twisted her arm so much so she had to go to the hospital with it. And he had to deal with the Department of Children Family Services. And they also unsubstantiated the claim of probably most likely obvious child abuse.
They wanted to say it, no bearing or whatever. When you pull the reports, they documented it all. You can get all that stuff too.
He seems a little that like that touched a nerve.
You want some water?
No, I'm good. Let's move forward. Whatever you need, I'm here to give to you.
Okay.
I'm innocent. I don't need an attorney, so I'm good. Ask whatever you want to ask.
Well, if we can just continue the conversation, and I don't want to rush you. Take your time. I think we left off around about Saturday morning. So you guys got up, and she wasn't there. So you and Eli got ready and went to the farm.
And so they're creeping up on the day, and I just find it awfully interesting that as they're creeping up on the day in this interview, even though he's talking about one of her other children, he's crying. This is a good signal to law enforcement. You're breaking your subject down. And so he's not wanting to push. He's just wanting to, if you hear this, this is a very, very, very skilled investigator and detective. You can tell by his demeanor. I would never be a good detective in interviews like this because, I don't keep my demeanor calm enough. You understand? So so whenever things get under my skin, you'll hear my voice pitch. You'll hear it get a little bit higher pitch and maybe a little more gruff, more abrasive in my language and pointed. So this guy, if you're listening to it, he knows he's breaking his subject down. He can tell. How can he tell? The man's crying. He's got tissue, coming out of his eyes. He's getting frustrated that he's crying to the point where he throws the tissue really hard into the garbage can next to him. So we know that this detective is being effective, and he's keeping a very calm, cool demeanor as he's questioning his subject. Even when, Brooks is ready for him just to start hitting him with the tough questions, the investigator is just like, no, let's just take it nice and slow. Let's not rush through this. Really keeping that very calm body language, that very calm voice demeanor, that de-escalation mechanism going instead of escalating it. Like, Brooks is wanting to escalate this and get right through to the end. Well, this very seasoned investigator and interrogator is like, let's just take a step back. Let's just slow it down and let's just get through this process. Very calm, no big deal. We'll keep you calm, right? So that is kind of where the detective is doing very, very good here. I've seen a lot. I've always tried to tell people some of the best interrogators aren't the ones that are raising their voice and slamming their fists down on tables. Some of the best interrogators handle their business just like this man. He wants to be your friend. He wants to calm you down. He wants to just have a conversation. Let's see what we've got here. Let's figure out how to fix this problem. You've got a problem. I want to solve the problem you have. That's kind of the demeanor. He's breaking Brooks down, believe it or not. That's what he's doing. Anyways, I'm not going to harp on that anymore. I wanted you guys to see that. I know that that's what that detective's thinking, especially with tears coming out of his eyes, him wiping his eyes. But when he threw that tissue into the garbage can really hard, he released some of that. So now he's ready to refocus himself and get back to the questioning. And another reason why I feel like that detective is like, let's just slow down. Let's not rush this. Let's take some time and get through this.
Did you go anywhere else before you went to the farm?
I didn't stop at McDonald's or nothing to get any kind of breakfast because he had that yogurt, that squeezable breakfast, whatever. I don't know. Whatever. Someone steal in the refrigerator if you want one.
So, we're not going to stay. We got 12 more minutes. Let's all go ahead on over to Jennifer Coffindaffer, and we'll pick this up. We're not going to pick this up tonight. We have our 10 o'clock show tomorrow morning on the Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers case. But what we will do on this particular case is tomorrow about 3:30, 4 o'clock, we'll pick this case back up and keep running with this case, because I'd like you guys to, I really think we could learn something from this case as well as Dee Warner's case in conjunction with Sebastian Rogers' case. Okay, so there is a reason why I chose this case, and there is a reason why we're going to be choosing Dee Warner's case next. So just bear with me. There is a reason for all this, and I really do hope you guys stick around and support these shows that are going to help us in the Sebastian Rogers case. I do appreciate it, everyone. Before we go out, I just want to say again, Gypsy, thank you for becoming the newest member of our coffee club. Tracy, thank you so much, 1 month member. And Lady 7 Up, thank you so very much. I do appreciate your love and support. Big hugs and kisses from me to you. Let's go out. Let's go over to Jennifer's channel. Let's support her and let's learn some new information. We'll be back with this case tomorrow at 3:30. God bless you. I will see you guys for our pajama party. I bought new pajamas too. Ooh, don't go anywhere. I bought new pajamas for tonight's show. Tell me these are not the cutest. I went with Hello Kitty. So I got some new pajamas. They're because it's freezing here, guys. It's freezing. And so I got some pants and of course my button-up shirt, right? I always have the button-up, but don't ask me why. I wear t-shirts for you know, for my day, and I wear button-ups for my night. Don't ask me, okay? Like I said, it's crisscross. Poncho Paxton is in the chat for Coffin Doffer. Awesome. All right, guys, I'll see you over at Jennifer's channel. Thanks so much for all your love and support, and be back here for 9 o'clock tonight for our pajama party. All right, pajama in crime. I want everybody snuggly and warm tonight at 9 o'clock. We will be going live from office number 2. All right, now I'll see you over at Jennifer's. All right, guys, love you. Bye. Let me find my exit. There it is. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you, God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.